Listen, I wish someone had told me this earlier. Not after the damage was done, not after I had already wasted time, but before the mistakes. Before those long nights where I kept asking myself why nothing was changing. Just one truth. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is freedom. I know it sounds backwards. We grow up believing discipline means losing something. You get disciplined at school, you lose your break. At home, you lose your privileges. At work, you lose opportunities. So we start to believe discipline hurts, that it limits us, that it takes happiness away. But the truth is the opposite. Discipline is the thing that gives you your life back. It's the tool that moves you from where you are to where you keep imagining yourself to be. People think success comes from talent, from luck, from connections, from perfect timing. But if you really look at people who built something real, something lasting, there's always one thing behind it. Not talent, not money, not chance. Discipline, the ability to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. And here's something real. Motivation will lie to you. It's emotional. Some days you wake up feeling unstoppable. Everything feels clear, powerful, aligned. But then there are days when getting out of bed feels heavy, when doubt creeps in, when your energy disappears. If your life runs on motivation, it will always be inconsistent. But if your life runs on discipline, your progress becomes unavoidable. Discipline is showing up when you don't feel like it. It's doing the work when no one is watching. It's saying no to what feels good now so you can say yes to what actually matters later. And that later is coming no matter what. Whether you prepare or not, whether you sacrifice or not. When it arrives, it will either reward you or expose you. I had to learn that the hard way. I had big dreams but small habits. I wanted change but I wasn't consistent. I wanted success but I had no structure, and I kept wondering why nothing was moving. The truth was, life wasn't stuck. I was. Because without discipline, dreams are just wishes, and wishes don't build anything. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. But most people never cross it because it's uncomfortable. It requires sacrifice. It requires honesty. It forces you to admit that sometimes the problem isn't the world. It's your habits, your excuses, your attachment to comfort. And people don't like hearing that. Everyone wants motivation, no one wants correction. Everyone wants results, no one wants routine. Everyone wants the spotlight, no one wants the practice. But the life you want is waiting on the other side of disciplined behavior. And discipline isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't show off. It's quiet, repetitive, daily, sometimes even boring. But inside that repetition, something powerful is happening. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build trust. Every time you follow through, you reshape your identity. You stop being someone who tries and become someone who executes. And once that identity shifts, everything shifts. You stop negotiating with excuses. You stop listening to comfort. You stop waiting. You move. You act, not because you feel amazing, but because you decided your feelings don't get to control your future anymore. Discipline isn't about being harsh on yourself, it's about being committed to yourself. It's saying, I respect my future enough to change my present. I believe in my potential enough to stop sabotaging it. And here's the most powerful truth. Discipline is easier than regret. It doesn't feel like it in the moment. Discipline asks for effort now, but regret costs you pain later. So the choice is simple. Struggle a little today or suffer a lot tomorrow. And that decision isn't made once. It's made every single day. Regret doesn't rebuild you. It traps you. Discipline does the opposite. It builds pride. It builds clarity. Regret fills your mind with doubt, with what ifs, with the weight of knowing you could have done more. But discipline replaces all of that with certainty, with proof, with quiet confidence. If you look closely at people who are truly fulfilled, not just successful on the outside, but at peace within, they didn't avoid effort. They didn't run from discomfort. They leaned into discipline long enough for it to change them. And here's something most people never realize. Discipline makes life simpler. When you're undisciplined, everything becomes a question. Should I do this now? Maybe later, maybe tomorrow, maybe when I feel ready. You keep negotiating with yourself. And those negotiations steal your time. But when you're disciplined, the decision is already made. There's no debate. If it aligns with your goals, you do it. Not because you feel like it, but because that's who you've become. That's your standard now. And once that identity locks in, everything changes. You start protecting it. You don't break promises to yourself easily anymore. You don't drop your routines for temporary comfort. You don't go back to habits that contradict the person you've worked to become. And slowly, discipline stops feeling forced and starts feeling natural. This isn't theory, this is real life. There will be seasons where motivation disappears completely, and discipline is the only thing carrying you forward. Times where structure saves you from chaos. Times where consistency pulls you out of your own doubt. And every time you choose discipline, your life rises. Not overnight, not magically, but steadily, permanently. And there's something else it gives you. Something you can't fake: real confidence. Not the kind you talk about, the kind you earn. Because every time you do something hard, something uncomfortable, something you once avoided, you collect evidence. Evidence that you're capable. Evidence that you're reliable. Evidence that you can keep going even when it's difficult. And that evidence changes everything. The way you walk, the way you speak, the way you make decisions. You stop hoping you can and you start knowing you can. That's why discipline isn't cruelty, it's self-respect. It's the highest form of self-care, because you're no longer abandoning your future self. You're investing in them, you're supporting them, you're choosing to struggle a little today so you don't have to suffer later. And understand this clearly: discipline doesn't take away joy, it protects it. Because the joy that comes from real progress, from growth you earned, from becoming someone you once only imagined, that feeling is deeper than any temporary pleasure. Comfort is easy to enjoy, but not everyone gets to feel the pride of becoming who they promised themselves they would be. So when you feel resistance, when that inner voice tells you to stop, to delay, to quit, recognize it for what it is. You're standing at the edge of change, and change always demands discipline. There is no transformation without repeated, intentional action. None. You don't need perfection. Discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up again and again and again. It's coming back after you slip. It's continuing after you fail. Because failure doesn't break discipline. Quitting does. As long as you return, you're still in the game. Now picture this. 1 year from today. Same environment, same resources, same starting point. But this time, disciplined actions, disciplined mornings, focused work, clear priorities, consistent habits. Your life wouldn't look the same. It couldn't. Because small, disciplined actions repeated daily always compound. Slowly at first, almost invisibly, but over time, undeniably. And one day, you wake up and realize you're not the same person anymore. Your standards changed. Your results changed. Your confidence changed. Your direction changed. And it all started the moment you forced yourself to do what you once avoided. Because discipline isn't something you wait for. You create it. You choose it. You practice it. In the beginning, it feels heavy, unnatural, uncomfortable. But with time, it becomes strength. Then it becomes ease. Then it becomes who you are. And eventually, it becomes freedom. There comes a moment in life when you get tired. Not of the world, but of your own excuses. When you decide you're done negotiating with comfort, done waiting to feel ready, done delaying the life you know you're capable of. And that moment, that decision, is where everything begins to change. Not outside first, inside, because when you change the person changes the life. So understand this truth. You're not stuck because you lack potential. You're stuck where discipline hasn't been applied yet. And the moment you apply it consistently, patiently, relentlessly, things start moving, growth starts, progress starts, your life starts shifting. So push yourself. Not because you're weak, but because you're capable of more than you've allowed. Not because you're lacking, but because you deserve the results of your highest effort. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. And one day, when your life finally reflects the standards you chose, you'll look back and feel grateful for every moment you refused to quit on yourself. That's how you take your life back. That's how you respect your potential. That's how you become who you were always meant to be. Because discipline changes everything. If there's one thing that should stay with you long after this moment, it's this. Discipline is not something outside of you that you chase. It's something inside you that you choose. It's not reserved for special people. It's not given by luck or circumstances. It's built quietly, decision by decision, in moments no one sees, where there's no applause waiting. And those unseen moments, that's where your life is actually being shaped. Life doesn't change in big, loud moments. It changes in routine. It changes in the mornings when you get up even though comfort is pulling you back. It changes in the evenings when you keep going even though you're tired. It changes every time you refuse to break your own standards. And over time, that refusal becomes strength. That strength becomes self-control. That self-control becomes identity. And that identity becomes your destiny. You have to understand this deeply. The person you become is not based on the dreams you talk about, not the plans you make, not the intentions you carry. It's based on the discipline you live, because what you do repeatedly becomes who you are, and who you are determines what you get. Your habits and your results are not separate, they're directly connected, every choice leading to a consequence. A lot of people keep waiting for discipline to feel easy, for effort to feel natural, for change to feel comfortable, but discipline usually starts exactly where comfort ends. It asks you to move before you feel ready, to act before you feel confident, to commit before you feel certain, and that stretch you feel, that discomfort, it's not punishment, it's growth. So when you feel resistance, don't take it as a sign to stop. Take it as proof that you're stepping out of the familiar and into something greater. Every time you choose discipline over ease, you reshape your character, you weaken old habits, you break old limits, and slowly you build a stronger version of yourself, one decision at a time, one habit at a time, one action at a time. There's something powerful about that process, because discipline isn't about being hard on yourself, it's about alignment. It's about making your daily actions match your deepest values. It's about living in a way that supports the life you say you want. And when your actions and intentions finally match, everything changes. You stop feeling scattered. You stop feeling stuck. You stop doubting your direction. You start feeling clear, focused, whole. And that feeling brings real peace. Not the kind of peace that comes from avoiding effort, but the kind that comes from knowing you're showing up for yourself, from knowing you're no longer letting yourself down, because nothing builds a stronger mind than trusting yourself. And that trust comes from discipline. When you trust yourself, decisions get easier. Opportunities stop feeling scary. Challenges stop feeling overwhelming. Even failure loses its power because you know you'll come back stronger. That kind of confidence doesn't come from luck. It comes from proof. Proof built over time, through consistent action. So this isn't just about improving your life, it's about changing your relationship with yourself. You stop being someone who just hopes and become someone who acts. You stop being someone who plans and become someone who executes. You stop doubting and start proving. And that internal shift is what every external success is built on. Understand this too. Discipline is not measured in big moments, it's measured in consistency, in doing the small things right, again and again, long after the excitement fades, because greatness doesn't come from one big effort. It comes from small efforts repeated daily, without quitting. And one day, what once felt forced becomes natural. What once felt heavy becomes part of who you are. Your standards start showing in your behavior, your priorities show in your time, your values show in your routines, and your life stands strong, not because it's perfect, but because it's consistent. That's why discipline is freedom. It frees you from your moods. It frees you from waiting to feel motivated. It frees you from starting and stopping again and again. It gives you stability. And over time, that stability turns into progress you can't undo. There will still be hard days. Discipline doesn't remove difficulty. It changes how you respond to it. You don't quit, you continue. You don't avoid, you face it. You don't delay, you act. And that difference is what separates a life that stays stuck from a life that keeps growing. So if you ever question whether it's worth it, compare it honestly. The effort of discipline or the pain of regret, the struggle of showing up or the frustration of never becoming. One builds you, the other breaks you. So this isn't just about working harder, it's about living with intention, making sure your daily actions reflect the person you want to become. Because identity is built through repetition, and repetition is controlled by discipline. And if you stay with it, if you keep showing up, if you keep choosing it, one day you'll look back and see a life shaped with purpose. Not perfect, but powerful. Not easy, but meaningful. Not instant, but undeniable. That's the result of disciplined living. A life that slowly, steadily rises to meet its own potential. And understand this, it's never too late to choose discipline. No matter how long you've lived a certain way, no matter how many times you failed, it can change. Because discipline doesn't ask for a perfect past, it asks for a committed present. The moment you decide to start again, for real this time, you break the pattern of yesterday and open the door to a different tomorrow. So carry this with you. Your life will always move in the direction of your actions, not your wishes, not your fears, not your excuses. Your actions, they shape you, they guide you, they decide where you end up. And the powerful part, they are completely in your control, one choice at a time. So push yourself, but not from anger, from clarity, not from shame, from belief, not because you hate where you are, but because you know you're meant for more. Push yourself because comfort has kept you smaller than your potential. Push yourself because consistency is the path to real freedom. Push yourself because the version of you that you keep imagining is waiting on the other side of disciplined living. And when you keep going, step by step, choice by choice, something shifts. You start to realize that the life you thought needed motivation, luck, perfect timing, was always available. It was never about conditions. It was about structure, persistence, and the decisions you were willing to repeat. You realized discipline didn't limit you. It revealed you. It didn't hold you back. It refined you. It didn't weigh you down. It built you. And that's the truth most people miss. Discipline is not the end of freedom. It's the beginning of it. Because the real freedom in life is self-mastery, the ability to control your actions, no matter how you feel, no matter what's happening around you. And self-mastery is just discipline, practiced long enough. So from this point forward, understand this. Every disciplined choice you make is an investment in who you're becoming. Every time you stay consistent, you're building your future. Every time you choose effort over ease, growth over comfort, purpose over impulse, you're writing a life that actually means something. And one day, when you're standing in the life those choices created, you'll see it clearly. You were never fighting yourself. You were building yourself. You were never restricting your life. You were taking control of it. You were never losing anything. You were becoming everything you were meant to be. That's the quiet win of discipline. That's the reward that lasts. And it all comes down to something simple. Your life is shaped by what you do daily, not what you say, not what you plan, not what you wish, what you repeat. Discipline is what turns vision into reality, effort into progress, potential into something real. At first, it won't feel easy. It will test you. It will stretch you. It will demand patience and consistency. But every time you choose it, you move closer to the person you want to be. And slowly, those small actions start building something bigger: confidence, identity, direction, a life built with intention, not impulse. So remember, discipline isn't here to limit you. It's here to free you from regret, from inconsistency, from wasted potential. When you choose discipline, you choose growth, you choose self-respect, you choose control. So move forward with this in mind. Your future is being created right now by the choices you're making today. Choose consistency, choose responsibility, choose higher standards, because the life you keep dreaming about is already waiting on the other side of discipline. And the moment you fully commit to it, that's the moment everything begins to change.